Hello, I think it's 10 o'clock now. We're starting our magnificent live call, and I think this is the call number 3. And I'm just waiting to see who's on and see if you. So if you want, give you a couple of minutes to get on and tell your friends, let them join us. Okay. So today I'm going to be going on with how to work with on our wheel of life, but we've chosen health to start working on. If you've chosen something else to work on, go ahead and continue your work with the other issue, but also follow these videos. So, and I had promised you to teach you how to do body dialoguing and to talk to your body and check in and see what's going on with the body. So we'll do that today. And let me just review what we've done since we started. We've done the wheel of life, figured out what's missing in our life, what we would like to have as a 10, or at least improve. If it's a 4, we'd like it to be a 6. That would be amazing. If it's a 0, we'd like it to have 2 or 3%, 20%, 30%. So we want to at least be on our way to a magnificent life. And we started doing that. We learned how to tap. We also wrote out on our wheel of life what wasn't a 10, what would make it a 10, and then we chose one area in our life and we decided to take steps that came from ourselves, like what would make it a 10, then take 1 or 2 or 3 steps depending on how much we can do, and started to actually implement that over the last 2 weeks. So where are you with that? And everybody does things at their own pace. Don't blame yourself, don't go into the guilt, because I used to do that. It's good to have an accountability person, and this is actually an accountability forum, because if I keep reminding you, where are you at, what are you doing, that's a kind of accountability. You'll feel like, let me next week try to keep up with that, okay? So at least you've done your wheel of life, and you've chosen what area you want to work in, and you've chosen steps to implement to get you in a higher rating of this issue that you wanted to change, right? Okay, I've chosen health to discuss, and we've chosen that we will exercise more, and we took it very small steps. Hello, Ahmed. Very small steps, that it can be exercising twice a week, it can be exercising 20 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. It's the pattern that's important right now more than even the amount of exercise you do. And we've chosen, last week we talked about maybe eating less fatty foods, so like making the choice to eat healthier and adding more fruits and vegetables into our food. So that would be 3 things we're trying. How have you done with that? So like for your own self, how have you done on your issue? Or have you done, if you're working with us on this exercise, on this health issue, how have you done that? If you're not doing that, but you're doing your own stuff, how have you done that? So 0 to 10, what would you rate that? And let's say it's a 5, it's a 4, it's a 3, it's a 7. What are you going to do? Let's put an intention. This week we're going to put an intention. What intention are you going to do to make this, to increase it another point? So if it's a 5, I want next week to be more on track and get a 6. I'm not even going to ask you to strive for 10, because it might look too hard and you won't do it. Let's take it one step at a time. So I've done 50% and I'm okay with it. But now I'd like to do a little bit more. I'd like to get a 6 on that. So let me just put that in mind now that I can do it. And okay, I'll just make sure I put it in my schedule, or I'll do it in the morning before the day, rushes me, or I'll do it no matter what happens before I sleep, or, you're going to have to make your own rules. And really, really, I've found that everybody has to make their own rules. When people are given like tips and I don't know what, and they don't seem to work. That's my experience. Just you have to find your own way of how to do it. What I will help you here is try to keep you accountable to yourself, which is hard. Promising ourselves to do our stuff is hard. But it is about building new neural pathways. Habits and patterns and behaviors, whatever you want to call them, need a new neural pathway. So people who like get up half an hour earlier so that they can exercise, they've trained themselves to do that over time. People who have trained themselves to go for salad first before they eat the rest of the meal have trained their mind and their body to choose that first and then serve themselves whatever else is left. It's just a matter of training, and it just needs consistency. And that's the fight. But now we have the tapping. Before it was so hard because you're doing it all on the conscious level and you're using willpower, and that was really a hard upward climb and a very steep hill because you run out of willpower and it's very tiring. But now we have the tapping. So if I have resistance, then I just tap. So like, even though I have all this resistance to sticking to this plan, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm just going to do this tapping right now for you because I think a lot of you have resistance. So let's say you're resisting to do what you said you'll do. So you're not keeping what we call keeping promise to self, or what we can call keeping commitment to self, or keeping contract with self. So I've contracted with myself to walk at least 4 times a week for half an hour, and I'm not doing it. Or I've promised myself, or I've committed to myself. All these words can be used, and I'm not doing it. I've promised, committed, contracted. So because of some kind of resistance. And it has to do with the comfort zone. It has to do with your mind wanting to keep you in that other space, thinking it is the most comfortable for you. It thinks it's protecting you. We'll talk about the protector inside you one time. But today, we're just going to tap away the resistance. Let's tap the resistance. First of all, rate the resistance. How resistant are you to doing what you said you want to do? How resistant are you to sticking to what you said you want to do? And remember, we've chosen together really simple, not a lot. And there's still resistance. That's okay. I'm showing you how much the mind will resist. So we haven't put the huge, like, I'm going to walk, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to on a diet. And we didn't say that. We chose a very simple thing, the minimum exercise, the minimum time, the minimum whatever. But still, if there's a resistance, if that hasn't been happening at 80% or 90%, then there is resistance. So if your rating for the week is like a 4, a 5, there's resistance somewhere. And it's not about your busy, and it's not about your time, it's about your resistance. Believe me, I've been there. It's none of that other stuff. That other stuff comes up to serve you in your resistance. To the point where things will happen in the house that you have to take care of, you will attract it so that you don't do what you're supposed to do because of the resistance. The resistance is very powerful. So let's tap the resistance. So even though I have all this resistance against doing what I said I would do, I love and accept myself. Even though I have all this resistance against actually committing to my promise to self, I love and accept myself. Even though I have a lot of resistance, I can feel it in my body, like I'm not going to do it. I totally and completely love and accept myself. And if that's not how easy to say, just say, I'm okay. All this resistance, I can't believe how much resistance I have. I can't believe I said I'll do it and then I didn't. I can't believe all this resistance. All this resistance in my body. All this resistance. Oh my God, I'm powerful. I managed not to do it, although I want to do it. Nobody made me. I chose it. I wrote it on a piece of paper, and I said I would do it. I actually promised myself to do it. I might have even signed a personal contract with myself to do it. And I told people I'm going to do it. I told myself I'm going to do it. And oh my God, the week passed and I didn't do it. And now I'm getting into all this guilt and maybe anger at myself and self-blame. And that feels awful too. I hate this cycle. I hate this cycle of saying I'll do something and then I don't do it. I get all frustrated. I get angry at myself. I blame myself. I have a guilt. And then I want to promise myself again. And then I'm afraid to promise. Because if I promise and then don't do it and go into the guilt, it feels awful. And then at one point I just won't do it. I'm not even going to promise to do it. I'll just drop it. And then later, a couple of years, I'll say, oh my God, why did I not continue with that? I still need to do that. It's still on my mind. Because it's still in my wheel of life. I want to do that. I want to take care of my health. And I just keep going in circles and circles and circles. All this resistance in my body. I can feel it. I wonder what's going on. I wonder if I can change it a bit. I wonder if I can ease it. I wonder if I can talk to this resistance. Like, what's going on? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? What will happen if I actually do it? What will happen if I actually stick to what I said I will do? What will happen? And what will happen? What's good about that? Or what's bad about that? Why am I resisting? I'm going to stop here for a second because I'm going to discuss this question. It's called the upside or downside, which I learned from an EFT master called Carol Luck, of course. And the upside of not doing something, or the downside the upside of doing it and the downside of not doing it. What's the pros and cons? So what would be the upside of not, what will happen if I don't do it? And what will happen if I do it? So let's check what will happen if I do it. So what's the downside of actually doing what I said I'll do? It could be that I'm not used to that person. I'm not the person who will stick to my word. So that's like so uncomfortable for me. Who will I be? That's a different new person. Maybe I don't get to keep complaining that I never stick to anything. That's also something that could be happening. Like if I actually do it this time and it's smooth, then I can't complain to my friends and my husband and my sister and my kids and my I don't know what. That again I started this exercise plan and I said I will and I didn't. I don't get to nag again. I don't get to be in that same space. Maybe I don't get to do that. There must be a reason. And when you look at your resistance, ask it like, what's going on? Why am I not doing it? What do I get by not doing it? What do I get by not doing it, or what do I lose by doing it? What do I lose by doing it? Right? And a lot of it has to do also with the comfort zone. If I'm not, that's not me, identity. If I'm not a person who does do the stuff, I'm not a person who sticks to my plans, I'm not a person who respects my desires, I'm not used to being that person, to succeeding even in these little things. Like people say, I never stick to our diets. I never finish any project. I've had people come say that. There's not I have all these unfinished projects. Books and crafts and courses I've paid for and I don't know what, and I never finish. And they wear it like as if it's something to wear. It's as if it's something to be proud of. Like it became part of their identity. I'm the person who doesn't commit. I'm the person who doesn't finish. I'm the person who doesn't ever stick to what they promise themselves. So you've got to figure out what's going on inside you. Ask yourself, why am I resisting? Why am I resisting? Okay? So we've tapped on that. So this week, I want you to tap on the resistance. Go back to your list of things you've decided to do. And if you've given yourself too much, you're too ambitious, please decrease it. Even if it looks like little, you may need to decrease it, because I want you to build neural pathways of success. That's what I'm doing at this stage. I want your brain to build new neural pathways of, I stick to whatever I say I'm going to do. So even if it's like walking twice a week for 10 minutes, I know it's not that, may not be that useful for the health itself, but I'm getting your mind to have the new neural pathways where we are sticking to what we say we want to do, because that will help us later on for other things, parts of the life, right? So this is this week. If you need to tap resistance every day, if you need to journal, why am I resisting? What do I get to do? What do I not get to do if I stop resisting? What's the upside? What's the downside? What do I get to do if I stay the same? What do I not get to do if I stop the resistance? What will happen? What will happen if I stick to my plan? All right? And from journaling, things will come out. And when you have that, you start tapping on that too. Using the process I taught you last week, using any of my other videos, you can, or just write down and during the week what you need to tap on, and I'll help you out with a tapping for it. But the resistance is important to break, because as I said, we're building new neural pathways of keeping to our promise. Because remember, to create our desired life or magnificent life, we're going to create many things, not just our health, our relationships, our success, our wealth. So we're going to have habits to have that. How are we going to be successful if we can't keep our schedule at work? Or let's say I do something privately, or I'm a writer, or I'm a sportsman, or whatever I'm creating. I need to be very systemized in like by promises, like I'll exercise for 2 hours, or I'll read for an hour, or I'll write for a couple of hours a day, or 4 hours a day. I don't know what it's going to be. So I need you to start. So we're going to be working with many areas to create your desired life or your magnificent life from your terms. You've set them up, by the way, from the first time. So from there, we need to first make sure your habits and your ways of doing things and behaviors will serve you in moving through that. And tapping will really help us out. As I said, self-development without tapping was tough. That's why people read so many books, hundreds of books, but they couldn't implement. They had the knowledge. Amazing. And they can tell you all the tips and all the ways, and do it this way and do it that. And then people go to implement and they can't. It's so tough because they can't get the subconscious to agree. That's the problem. They can't get their subconscious to agree to do what they've said they're going to do. They don't have it all. Oh, there's a lot of other issues too, but I mean, a big part of it is their subconscious is not in alignment with their conscious. So their conscious saying, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And their subconscious saying, no. No. And it's making it really tough. It will procrastinate you, it will drive you crazy, it'll make you sick. If you're a very strong law of attraction person, you will attract problems. Things in the house will break down that you'll have to spend your time on. I don't know what will happen. You'll get phone calls that delay you. You'll create all kinds of stuff. You'll make a weird movie to resist. It's really funny to resist. And of course, one time we will talk about the law of attraction at some point. But I mean, you could go to my videos on YouTube. But in reality, you will create and you will get your world to do anything so that you don't create your desired life. Okay, so if you have any questions, please send them on this video. Please do your homework this week. Please let me know where you're at this week. Next week, it'll be the 4th week. I'd like to know where we're all at, and we're all one group here watching these videos. It will be nice if you share and under the videos, like where you're at, what have you chosen, how are you doing, what are you tapping on, so that we can all support each other as a community. So all of us are building our magnificent life. Okay? See you next week, and have a good week.